Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, the desire for freedom is present in everyone's life. There's no doubt on that. Who doesn't want to be happy? Who doesn't want to be free? Everybody wants to be free. So, the calling is there, and because of this calling, we start to get interested to be free. Then we talk about it. Then we start to gather the information on how to be free. Then we start to be part of the journey to be free. But somehow along the way, the spark to be free starts to fade away. And eventually, we give up on the idea of freedom. We give up to make the freedom a reality in life. And that's the experience for a lot, for you, isn't it? The desire to be free was there. The desire to be truly free. But that reality is just a fantasy right now. The idea of freedom can be a reality, but there has to be a consistent practice to get to the truth of oneself, to see the true nature of oneself. And truth makes the person to give up all the false in life. Or seeing the truth makes the person to detach from the false and make the person to keep life simple. And that's easy living, non-conflicting living, a fearless living. And that's possible. But the question right now is, what made you forget the journey to be free? Freedom from fear. What made you give up the practice? And the simple answer to this is the distraction, isn't it? People get distracted, and distraction makes people forget what is important in life. Notice from the morning you wake up till you go to bed, there are tons of distraction in your life, isn't it? You get distracted. And we give in to the distraction because there's an idea in us. That idea is called the fear of missing out. Then the idea of fear of missing out makes us give in, makes us distracted to the outer experience, the experience of coloring the consciousness, the physical experience. So that's how we start to forget. Now, getting distraction is actually happening from the deeper level. And that deeper level is our habitual pattern, is the conditioning. We are conditioned in life. We are conditioned to certain things. We are maintaining certain things in our lives. That is our preference. and getting distracted on the surface is actually speaking of the conditioning. The surface movement that is happening in our life is actually happening from the ingrained belief in us. Our life is pulsing from this ingrained belief. And this ingrained belief is there because that is true for us. So, life is happening from here. And that's why the surface experience makes us get distracted. Distraction making us forget the importance of the real spiritual journey. Right now, definitely, you are maintaining certain practices, certain practice, spiritual practice in your life. Or you have got stuck on the spiritual path. If you are not stuck, then you should be free, isn't it? The freedom feels near, but at the same time, you're not able to grasp it. You're not able to free yourself from your own mind. And that failure to be free in the spiritual journey is the sign that we are on the outward movement of the spiritual path. That means coloring the consciousness. And how we are coloring the consciousness in our spiritual journey is through meditation. There is a certain approach in meditation that can make you liberate from your pain, from your fear. And also there are meditation that can make you get stuck. And the practices that is making you stuck is the techniques that is making you go through the experience, the inner experience of mystical experience, the visual experience, or you are creating, visualizing in your practice. So that is still an outward journey. The inward journey, the real inward journey, is about seeing the nature of the consciousness. And coloring the consciousness is outwardly. The focus is on the color rather than the consciousness itself. And we can say this, going through the experience or creating this experience, also a distraction. And who loves to go through this kind of experience in the spiritual journey is the ego self. Ego loves to go through the colorful experience. And that's how the ego is not dismantled. Ego is prolonging its journey. And the real journey is about the death of the ego. And ego is afraid to die. The real journey is about being empty, taking out all the colorings in oneself. It's the journey, real spiritual journey is about dying in the ego. And if we are coloring the consciousness, its ego is doing the spiritual journey. And that's why there is a failure to see the truth. Now, you are putting the effort, but the effort is moving you outwardly. So that's why we need to recognize what is true spirituality and how to see the truth. What, how is important in the practice. If what and how is missing, then the spiritual seeking never ends. And by the way, spiritual seeking ends. When the truth is seen within, that's where the inner seeking ends, and the living, a true living, fearless living, easy living begins. That's why there's a saying, spiritual destination. Spiritual destination is the truth itself. Seeing oneself as the consciousness and anchoring in that, becoming that, reclaiming who we are. So that's the journey. Okay. So what is the real spiritual journey? Is the death of the ego. Death of the ego means dissolution of the mind, dissolution of the ingrained belief in oneself. All belief is the byproduct of our experience, comes from the outside and sit in us. So how can we see ourselves, I am this or that, as a certain belief? When we say I am this belief or that belief, then we are rejecting who we are. We are forgetting, and we have already forgotten. And the how part is dismantling. Dismantling is the way to get to see the true nature of oneself. Dismantling the belief all the way backward to why we hold on to the belief, and dismantling further until nothing is left. So how is that? So we're talking about the distraction. Distraction is making us forget to continue the path. Our habitual pattern, the conditioning, is making us forget. So if you are stuck in the practice, and if you want to make your desire to be free a reality, then you can reorient yourself by working on examining yourself. Spiritual freedom is about examining oneself, one's own mind, one's own emotions. So examine yourself. So here's a exercise. You have a certain belief that you are anchored in, isn't it? Don't say you don't have. Everybody has certain belief. So you have a certain belief that you are anchored in. You listen to it consciously or subconsciously. You listen to it. You give in to that belief. So you trace it back today. Why am I attached to this belief? And just sit with that. See the reasoning resurfacing in you. And once you see enough reasoning to listen to your belief, now you can deepen your inward journey by asking yourself, why is that important? So, the why is a simple solution to ignite the spiritual fire in your life. The why will make you see the connection. Once you start to make a connection, that will motivate you to stay with the practice. I know there are certain things important in your life. It's a must. Your life is dependent on certain outward journey. Yes, you got to do that. But when you have time, examine your belief. To be free, to see the truth, the path towards the truth is the belief. By tracing, dismantling the belief. If you have tried different stuff, but if the result is the failure, then here's a chance to reignite the fire in you, to reclaim who you are, to see the plain sight truth, to become consciousness. You are consciousness, no doubt, but we are forgetting that we are that. How to reclaim is peeling the layers. Okay. Again, the desire for freedom is there. Every situation, the friction that you go through in life reminds you of freedom, isn't it? And when it reminds you of freedom, the tendency is to just align with the momentary freedom. That is still better, but however, that's not freedom. The momentary freedom doesn't dissolve the fear in life. So, you work on to be free for good. Okay? So, yeah, that's all in this video. Hope this video makes sense to you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye.